groove lovers? You're tuned into Multi-Track Minds Backstage Pass, and tonight we've got a legend in the house. Meet Mr. Bugsy Wilcox, drummer to the stars and heartbeat of 100 hit records. Please join your host for this episode as we dive into the groove with Mr. Bugsy Wilcox. Let's roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of Multi-Track Minds Backstage Pass. Today I have a gentleman with me. It's an honor to have him on my show. He is, to make a long story short, a very legendary drummer for the Stars. Played with everybody you can possibly think of. But most importantly to me, he was the drummer for Marvin Gaye, one of my biggest heroes. So we're going to hope to get some stories and information from Bugsy. And we're glad to have him, ladies and gentlemen, Bugsy Wilcox.
Thank you.
How you doing,
Thank
Bugsy?
you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate you to the moon and back. And
Absolutely.
you know,
Glad to have
we've
you.
been
It's
look,
not-
you and I have been looking forward to doing this for quite some time. But I'm gonna say this. And then I'll let you do your interview. This is we're coming up on the 43rd anniversary of his demise.
Yes.
It'd be 43 years, come April 1st. It'd be 43 years. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but he was
Right.
only alive. The world, we only had him. He
Right.
was on loan to us for 44 years, and we're coming up on 43. So I appreciate, I appreciate the fact the way I met you through your cousin Jill in the grocery store, because your family members were like really Marvin Gaye fanatics. Your family out here on the West Coast, they were familiar with songs that I had forgotten the names of the songs. And then she told me, she said, I got a cousin that would love to talk with you. She said he would just flip over backwards. His name is Chris. He's a musician and he knows all these guys' stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I hear that kind of stuff all the time. And she kept asking me when I would go to the grocery store before I started doing this thing called Instacart. She said, have you talked with Chris? Have you talked with Chris? And I said, no, I talked with him on the internet. But then I stumbled across you guys. I know we'll get talking about it in a few minutes, but I stumbled across your tribute. Dude, I'm going to give you your flowers. I don't know how I'm supposed to talk on this platform, so I'm just going to talk.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, the way you guys, and to find out that you play guitar, bass, and keyboards.
Yep.
Dude, you played all of that. And
Yes,
when I listened to that thing, man, it reminded me of Prince Rogers Nelson's, because I knew Prince before he became, the Prince that the world knew. And this guy, man, like Stevie Lynn Morse, aka Stevie Wonder. Y'all know him as Stevie Wonder, but that's Steve Lynn. That's his name is Steve Lynn.
Morris,
Steve Lynn Morse, man, and he would sit down and play, like what's the dude, the guitar player that died? What's his name? Come on, man, the white guy. Can't think of his name right now. I'm having a senior moment, but he played the very beginning to Superstition, and people think that Stevie did that, and it was Jeff Beck.
Oh, Jeff Beck, really?
That was Jeff Beck that went pop, 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 pop. That was Jeff Beck that did that, and the world don't know that.
Right.
The world don't know that was Jeff Beck that did that, man. But anyway,
And
man,
Michael Cimbello was also playing guitar with him at that time.
Mike Cimbello, dear friend of mine, man. That was, oh man, God, you going way back on me now. Yeah, you going back to Mike Cimbello and Dennis Davis and them cats, But for the most part, man, not to get off the track of what I'm saying, when I paid attention to your tribute to my brother-in-law, man, I damn near cried, because you guys, man, y'all peed on that shit. I mean, you should, if I was you, I would go back and record some of that stuff and release it. Yeah, I mean, and in fact, if you ever decide to do that, hey man, my dollar, I'll put my old lady and I on a plane. I'll come there and I'll play it for you. I'll come and play with it. I'll come and play with it. And I don't need no money. I don't need no money. Everybody wants money, but I don't need it. But I'd be honored. Because you guys
it means
did
a lot to me.
that you guys did that well of a job. And your drummer whoever that little drummer was, that dude, he was in there. That
Yeah.
motherfucker was in it. Who is that? Well, who was that drummer? Who was
On
the
the
drummer?
first What's Happening, Brother, and God Is Love, the first part there, it's a cat out here called Donnie DeMarco.
We tell that cat, do you give that cat my best, man? You know, in fact, I'm sure he'll
and
see
then
this, you
on
know.
the third part, Mercy Mercy Me, that's a different drummer. That's Clark Caves.
Okay. Well, hey, man, you know, when I first listened to What's Happening, Brother, and Mercy, well, I think was it Mercy or was it God Is
God
Love?
Is
One of
Love.
the two. God Is Love. Man, y'all did a hell of a job on that, man. Y'all, you know, if y'all released that over in the UK, you'd be surprised what it would do. Because the people
Yeah.
over in the people in the European continents, man, you know, I stopped going. To do what do you call it? Little promotionals, little EPK kits, or what do you call it? Electronic press kits and little
Yeah.
tribute shows because it was just doing so much of it, man. And I got a little burnout on it, man. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's enough of me talking. I'll let you do your talking, you know, and I'll
No,
just
that's
answer,
okay, Bugsy.
talk with you,
It's
you know.
all fascinating information, man. Anything you say.
Oh, and that's Margaret.
Appreciate it.
That's Margaret sitting right there. That's my love.
All
That's
right.
Margaret, right there, you know. So
Meet you.
anyway, so where we at? What we doing? What we talking about? What's happening?
So I'm
What
gonna
it
ask you a little
is?
bit about Marvin, okay?
Mhm.
One of the things that I have in my life that I treasure is the video of you guys in 1981, live in
1981.
Montreal, when he's got the
I'm
red
in Montreal with
jacket
the
on.
red jacket on. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
showed her
and
that
then
whole.
you on
Yeah.
drums,
Yep, that's me.
dressed all in
1980.
white.
Yep, dressed in white, you know, white t-shirt and white pants. Let me tell you something
Yep.
about that gig, though. Let me tell you something about that. Right after that gig was over,
Mm-hmm.
I had a mild heart attack. I suffered a mild
What?
heart attack. Because if you
You kidding?
notice, oh yeah, well, I didn't know I was a cardiovascular patient at the time, or had issues. But if you notice the lighting on the stage, it was flush white the entire time.
Yeah.
Nothing happened with the lights.
Right.
The lights were, and Marvin wanted it like that, because that's unedited. We played that all the dynamics that you heard. There was
Right.
there was nobody like yourself or my son-in-law sitting there doing any editing or any producing, you know, playing the
Right.
knobs and the like. That was
Oh,
what
no.
you guys hear. That's how tight that band was. I mean,
Yeah.
all the crescendos and the diminuendos and you could hear a rat piss on cotton, you know. And sometimes some of the parts in that show, man, you could actually hear the air conditioned vents, you know. But it was so hot on that stage. It was so hot on that stage. And when we got done, man, you know, I stood up and I started bobbing and weaving I was on this riser. Didn't look like it, but I was on a riser that came up out of the floor. And it lifted me maybe about a foot higher than the stage itself. And dude,
Right.
I leaned over. Marvin was backstage, and I leaned over backwards on my drum throne. And he said, "Bugs, what's the matter with you? Are you all right?" Bam! And I hit the floor. I ended up in the hospital for 12 days and 13 nights. It was just dehydration, partying too hard and playing too. And we were on our way home. That was the last time we played in Europe. After being there in Brussels, Belgium, we lived in a place called Genk, Brussels, Belgium. We stayed there long enough to gain Flemish citizenship. And like I said, man, he was my brother-in-law, man. You know, so wherever he went, I was right there with him, man. You know, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were
yeah.
married to his sister.
Ziola Gaye and I. She lives here. She lives here in Vegas now, man. And you know, we get along. I try to get along with any of my ex associates, and that I make a concerted
Right.
effort that we can always communicate. You know, because it don't have to go from sugar to shit
That's right.
unless it's full of shit. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it don't have to go from sugar to shit unless it's full of shit. You know,
I hear you.
this is not gonna go from sugar to shit. I'm gonna take this one to heaven with me when I get up out of here. I'm gonna be, you know, but for the most part, man, you know, it's a blessing to talk with you guys, man. But what kind of guy Marvin was, man,
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, Chris, you could be sitting here talking like we're talking right now. And if you weren't talking about music, you talk about
Mhm.
football, basketball, baseball, you know, any kind of sporting event, you could be talking about politics. If you weren't talking about music, you could very easily forget that you were talking with Marvin because he was
Yeah.
that, you know, he was that kind of brother. Smokey's the same way. Uncle Bill, he's the same. We call him Bill. Lionel's the same way. You be around these cats, man. You know,
Yeah.
Reginald Dwight, aka Elton John, same way. You sit around these
Right.
cats, man. You know, and you just want to be a fly on the wall, man. And for me, Chris, I
Yeah.
was like I was 16 years old when I met him, you know, and he changed my life. Had it not been for where I was and doing what I was doing when I was that young, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. She would be sitting there, and my son-in-law's dog would be sitting here on the floor, looking up
Mhm.
at me like, "What are you doing in here?" Because you know, you know, I'm never in this room sitting in this chair doing this, man.
Mhm.
I would have been at home, you know, and being at home, I'd just be sitting at the crib looking at you on my little telephone. But my daughter, my adopted daughter, and my son-in-law, I'm in their control room. I'm in their house, and you know, I wish they had the camera. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm sitting in, you know, right here is the board, and all these drum machines and all this shit is everywhere, stuff, you know. But Marvin, man, getting back to him, man, yeah, I miss him
Yeah.
dearly. But the Bible says, "Miss me, let me go. You'll see me again." I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me and stuff like that. We're coming up on
Mhm.
43. We're coming up on 43 years. I'm talking to you
Yeah.
now. In a couple of weeks, I'll be talking with Channel 5, Fox News here in Las Vegas. And then
Oh, great.
I'm talking with Canadian television Sunday night. But I'm talking with you first. So I want to make this one personal.
All
I
right.
want to make this conversation very personal because they're going to have a, what do you call it, the format where censorship and you know, and you know, I'm going to answer questions of what they want to talk about, and none of y'all really got the truth on what happened, how it happened, and what type of cat he was, and what, you know, and what he left, because you know, it's like
Yeah.
this, man. It's like this, man. You know, I didn't know what what was to come. I did not know. I'm not going to take credit and act like I'm a king shit of Turd Island. My old lady tells me, she
Mm.
said, "You got an ego. You got an ego." And I want to say to her, you know, sometimes, you know, hey, if you've been in the music business for no less than 10 years and you don't have an ego, motherfucker, you need to be selling milk. You know,
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
you have to have confidence in yourself to
Yeah.
get the attention of other. I mean, the confidence that you guys had when you were playing our music, man, I'm telling you, it almost made me cry, you know, because I've seen so
Uh-huh.
many people reinterpret how our music influences people. And man, you know, the way I met
Mhm.
you through Jill, you know, when I tell your family member that I talked with you on television, you know, for a while and we could just talk open. Oh, she's probably she's probably gonna call you and want to go in and see it before you put it out there, or if it's going
Yeah. I'm
live, or
sure she'll see it.
yeah, she it's gonna bring tears to her eyes because it's because of Jill and her
Yep.
husband who's now in heaven. It's because of them that
Right.
I'm talking to you.
Right.
And I don't even go in the grocery store anymore. You know, I got to the point where the grocery store comes to the house, man, you know.
Yeah.
But Marvin, man, I was with him the last 14 years of his life, man. And he
Oof.
taught me everything. He at that time he taught me everything I know. And I didn't
Mhm.
have him long enough for him to teach me everything that he knew. So
Mhm.
with that being said, you know, from Diana, from Dee Dee, you know, I got to remember to not use the nicknames of people, but Diana Ross, she's Dee Dee, and Barry Gordy, BG, all these people, man, that we're gonna all be congregating in the weeks to come, um,
Oh, great.
oh yeah, to talk, to do what I'm doing with you, you know, and
Great.
I'm gonna let them know about you because my son-in-law is gonna have a link to talk with you. I want you to stay connected to this dude here. I want you to stay because When you stay connected to this dude here, Chris,
Yeah.
Jordan, when you stay connected to Jordan, you'll have a direct connection with me for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Okay, for the rest of your
Good.
life,
Good.
for the rest of my life, you'll have when you can't get me on the phone, all you gotta do is hit this dude right here, bam, and I'll know that you're trying to get at me, no matter where
All
I am
right.
in the
Well,
world. No matter
well,
where I'm in the
let's
world.
take it back to that 1981 performance.
Okay,
I
1981
I watch it
performance.
all the
Montrose.
time.
Mhm.
Right, Montreux. And
Yes.
on the end of it, when you do what's going on,
Uh-huh.
Marvin sings the tune, he goes through it, and
Yes.
when he gets done, y'all keep playing, and he starts to like
Yes.
preach,
He
talk a little
start. He
bit.
start. He's ministering, and that was
Yes,
totally unrehearsed. We
and then whenever
he
I'm
was
feeling
ministering.
down,
Yeah. Yeah.
I go to that, and it brings me right out of it. Whenever I'm feeling depressed or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
listen to Marvin say those words, and it cheers me up automatically. And I
That's
just want to
beautiful.
know, he had to have really been that deep. He was into like
Bro,
some deep shit. I mean, he talked about
bro,
some deep shit, God and everything, and you
man, I'm
know
tell you something, man. He comes
who
from his
made all the
father.
sands and winds and all that.
Yeah.
Was
Yes.
he really a guy like that?
Yes. Just the family, the Gay family, they were Pentecostal. And father was a minister of a church in
Right.
Washington D.C. with over 2,500 saints. I mean, they had a huge church. Marvin was a drummer. He was a drummer first. The family encouraged him to start singing. He was a drummer. That's pretty much kind of how I ended up playing with him. But yes, he's very deep in the word. The family every Wednesday night, if you were close enough, most of the guys in the rhythm section, we had to, it was part of being in his fold. We would all show up at 2117 and a half, West Gramercy. I know these numbers like shit. My long
Yeah.
short
Yeah.
term memory. If you asked me what I had for lunch yesterday, I'd have to look and ask her. But
Yeah. Well, you remember the old
2117 and that,
time.
yeah. Well, we would have to go to the house, to mother and father's house, to for prayer meeting, and it was
Mhm.
mandatory. It was a mandatory thing, that we stay connected to God, But Satan was a god too, and he knew the Bible and knows the Bible as well. So
Yeah.
that demon thing would know right where to stick those what do I want to say, honey? Those knives, So it knew how to get to us, man. But he was extremely deep. We talked about God everywhere, God and Jesus
Uh-huh.
everywhere we went. And if you weren't with God, then only Enoch walked with God, and then he walked off the face of the earth. You know,
Right.
People talk about Methuselah. Well, Enoch was Methuselah. Enoch was Methuselah's father, and we knew all that kind of stuff, but we were in the grips of what the world would consider a combat, and it wasn't a combat. We just left the United States because we were living in a neutral country, Brussels, Belgium. The Flemish people wouldn't allow the United States to come in and apprehend them and stuff like that for tax evasion. So we went. I stayed in another country, man, long enough to gain Flemish citizenship. I still have my Flemish papers. They aren't any good now, but because that's been so long. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
God was ever present. The Holy Spirit was a member of that band.
Mm.
And I mean, if you when you're listening to it after this conversation, I want you
Yeah.
to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to the fact that only the horn players was reading charts.
Ah.
And the horn players, this guy that played the saxophone, his name is David I. That's the guy who sat me down and taught me how to read figures. He said, "Man, you're already going to give every producer what God has given you. So if you just learn how to read the figures, whoever a drummer, a producer wants you to play a certain little figure, you play the
Right.
figure, you'll be fine." And dude, I mean, it ended up to where I got a chance to. I was the first black cat to ever record with Elton John, and And the Guinness Book of Records thought that was a big thing. And Marvin said, "No, that we ain't going that route. We, because the music it's not about color with the music." And I did this tune called with this lady named Kiki D with Elton John called "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Uh-huh.
And I was just a session cat, and we did that in Philadelphia, man. And it was that God had His hands in almost everything that I've ever done, Chris.
Yeah.
And Marvin was the one that brought me to the Lord. But man,
Yes.
back during those days, man, the drums was really good. The drugs was better. The drugs was better than the finest woman. How about that? You
Yeah.
know, I
Mhm.
mean, and I don't pull no punches, because there was a time in my life, man, I was a hopeless dope fiend, and today I'm a dopeless hope fiend.
Ah,
I mean, you figure deal me out. That was me. I'm not gonna say had we not been what we were, that I'd be where I am sitting here today, man. With beautiful
right.
family,
It is what it is.
beautiful. It is what it is, man. But Marvin was so deep, man, into God, man. We would be in the airport sometime, Chris, and people would want to be talking about uh uh the music, and he'd be talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
So that would make a conversation, you know,
Mhm.
uh, kind of uncomfortable for somebody. Not him, not him.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, he was full of the word, and he knew the Bible. You know how these the pastors and leaders of churches, how they can quote scripture,
Yeah.
and don't have the book nowhere around them. That's who he was.
Mhm.
He quotes scripture, and if you were around him for any significant amount of time, Chris, it rubbed off on you. Like I say, man, I might get a little tender here because I haven't done this. I only do this once a year, man. I only do
Mhm.
this once a year. And in 43 years, would you believe that it still feels like it was just yesterday? You know,
Yeah.
it was just yesterday.
Time
And
flies.
and that was 1981. You guys are just now being able to see that performance in the last couple of years.
Right.
And when you look at it on the internet, I don't know if you can see the whole show without any clips. When you look at it on the internet, it'll show you the songs and it'll show you that, and then it'll stop and you got to go to the next one. Well, I
Yes,
have
it's
his,
too close.
but I have his personal disc because the night before he died, he handed me a case full of music and that disc, and he says, "Hey Bugs, I want you to take this to the studio, and I want you to give this to Art Stewart. And if you don't see him,
Oh.
guard it with your life." So
Uh-huh.
I got a disc, a CD disc you put in, and it has some kind of encryption on it, Chris. And
Uh-huh.
I think it's numerical or it's alpha. And when people like my ex, when people try to copy it, people try to copy it, and they, man, give me a copy of that. There's some kind of lock on it where it'll play, but it'll stop when it
Uh-huh.
stops. It'll play, they'll stop when it stop. And he never told me anything about that. So when I play it at home, like I showed it to her about a month, 2 months ago, and she was able to see the entire show in its entirety. So anywhere I go, when I want to share something like that with people, yeah. In fact, you know what? I could probably play it. Next time we talk, I want to bless you with something. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
put it on and play it. And I guarantee you, my son-in-law, all this
Mhm.
shit he got in here, he can make that
Yeah.
thing play. And as long as I'm not trying to copy it, you can
Uh-huh.
copy it from where you are. Dig what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because
Yeah.
only way I can keep, I tell her, the only way I can keep whatever it is the world thinks I have, man, I'm about to cry. The only way I can keep whatever the world thinks I have is to share
Uh-huh.
it with you guys as freely as God gave it to me. Because when we go out
Right.
and play tonight, if we go out and play tonight, we're concerned about how much money we're going to make, right? Right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
How much of it you going to give to God? I'm gonna turn my back and let you figure that shit out. How
All
much of
right.
it you gonna give to God? He didn't charge us nothing for it.
Mhm.
So we have to share freely, but we gotta pay bills. We gotta
Right.
pay bills, man. So, but he was he
Yeah.
was a, he was a beautiful dude, man. I just what's the dude's name? Dan Fogelberg. You familiar with who I'm talking about? Dan
Nah, I don't.
Fogelberg. Dan Fogelberg. He wrote a song called "The Leader of the Band." When you get time,
Okay.
pull up that song. The
Okay.
song is basically about Marvin Gaye, but it starts off talking about Jesus. And the line is, "The leader of the band is tired and his eyes are growing old, but his blood runs through my instrument and his song is in my soul. My
Come
life has
on.
been a poor attempt to imitate the man. I'm just a living legacy to the leader of the band." Yeah.
You definitely check
See,
that out.
yeah. Dan Fogelberg, the leader of the band. Check it out. He starts talking about Jesus, and he ends up writing this little, what do you call it, like a memoir about Marvin Gaye, man. And
That
it's
sounds great.
yeah, it's really cool, man. But it's all history.
You know,
It's
that band at that time, that lineup of 1981, who was playing bass was a guy by the name of
Frank
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 Blair.
Frank Blair. Frank Blair.
Now, Frank
Frank
Blair is the bass player that's playing on Funk Me. Now,
Frank Blair, he's on Funk Me. Frank Blair is on Funk Me. Frank Blair played everything with us from 1978 to the end. That's him
okay,
on Funk
hey,
Me. That's him on Funk. Go ahead.
growing up
Go
with
ahead.
all my friends, we always thought it was James Jamerson because
Yeah,
back
no,
then, way back, there was no credits or anything. You couldn't see
I
who was
love you.
playing in the album.
Uh,
So we
uh,
all assumed it was James Jamerson. But then when I
no,
got
that was
older and the internet came out, I found out it ain't James
Frank,
Jamerson. But
Frank Blair,
it's
Daytona
Frank
Beach,
Blair,
Florida.
but he's definitely trying to play in the style of Jamerson. That's clear.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you
Jamerson
something.
is
Let me tell you something.
another
Let
hero
me
of
tell you
mine
something.
because first and foremost, I'm a bass player.
Frank
I
Blair,
grew up playing bass, and
he
Jamerson
he
was my
act,
complete idol,
yeah,
and
yeah,
still is to today.
and
But
still
this
is
guy
right
Frank
today.
Blair really surprised us,
Study.
man.
He
And
studied
everybody
him. He
wanted to play
studied.
that bass. And tell me
He
about that
studied him.
recording. Tell me about Funk Me and Frank
Okay,
Blair.
Frank Blair and Funk Me. Okay, we were on the North Shore, a place called Lima Estates. And the song Funk Me.
Mhm.
What happened there was like, it would be Marvin, myself, and Frank, and that's the way we would cut. And Frank and
Oh,
Marvin would say, "Hey Frank, give me something." And he came up with what he came up with. The same thing like that. That's what happened on Got to Give It Up. But Frank Blair was a writing, he was a producer, he was a playing motherfucker, and he studied. He literally
yeah,
studied like people study the Bible. He studied James Jamerson. He studied him.
I could tell. Yeah,
Like hell. I mean, like when I say study, Frank Blair was the kind of bass player. You didn't even go to his room certain times of the day because he was having a master class on studying James Jamerson after James Jamerson was already present with the Lord, and absent from the body. He studied that brother. And
yeah.
I'm surprised you picked that up.
Oh, yeah. It's clear.
I'm surprised. Yeah. But Funk Me, man, a lot of the stuff that you're gonna ask me about, since you asked me about Funk Me,
Yeah.
did you ever listen to a song called Ego Tripping Out?
Yes, sir. On the same
Okay,
album in
on the
our
same
lifetime.
album, in our
Hmm.
lifetime, and that album is it's OP out of print. There was the last project that we were doing with Motown, and he was going to CVS, so they didn't really get behind it. And
Yeah.
but Ego Tripping Out, Heavy Love Affair, Funk Me, oh God, I can't even think of
Love
some of the
Party.
name. Love Party, Love Party. That Frank
Hmm.
Blair. That was Frank Blair's song. This is the first
Really?
time this is the first time anybody's ever asked me about Frank Blair. And he went on to Robert Palmer. Robert, he
Yeah.
played with Robert Palmer for a good minute. I mean, and he's in heaven now too. Almost everybody but myself is gone. Almost
Mm.
everybody, but we did that at a place called Sea West in Honolulu on the North Shore, Lima. And this was when the the Sea Wind horn players, Jerry Hay, them cats, they from over there. And so we had the ability, we had those guys just hanging out, wanting to be a part of a Marvin Gaye project. So everything we was doing is just like me talking to you right now and her sitting right there. We was just, it was just happening. And we had no idea, my brother. We had no
Uh-huh.
idea it was going to become what it became.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and try to polish a turd and say we thought we was all that in the bag of chips. No, 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 because
Mm.
we were very secure in our music, but we were very insecure as to how people would receive it, you know.
Uh-huh.
And nobody really asked me about in our lifetime. Nobody, I mean, we did Hear My Dear. Your
Yeah.
cousin, Jill came up to me in Smith's supermarket and started
Yeah.
singing the lyrics to You Can Leave, but it's gonna cost you. And I looked
Yeah.
at that woman. She says, I know who you are. She said, I know who you are. And she said, I know who you are. And my husband told me that you also played with Gino Vanelli. I said, yeah. I said, who is your husband? And come find out that your families, man, they're just people that y'all listen to the type of music you listen to, and I just happen to be involved in it, man. Like I said, man,
Always,
I'm not gonna
always, you
I'm not
always
gonna
grew
blow.
up on the music.
Yeah, yeah. And let's don't take away from the fact that, dude, I'm gonna keep on plugging you because you are
Mhm.
one hell of a musician. It's gonna be a
Oh,
bucket list thing for me to sit down and play with you. It's gonna be a
oh yeah.
bucket list thing. Yeah, I want that to be a
Yeah, I
bucket
would
list
love
thing
that,
because
man.
you in Chi-Town, man. I used to work with Curtis Mayfield with the Buddha Group right there, 1200 Lakeshore Drive, the Michigan Inn, where the Michigan Inn Hotel is at now. And dude,
Mhm.
being in and out of Chicago, man, being in the Chicago, man, on Michigan Avenue, that's the first time I saw a Caucasian man ashy around the mouth because it was 12 below zero with a 22% wind chill factor. And this guy walked out of the hotel, man. This guy walked. I got a cord caught up on move that cord over there. This guy walked out of the hotel, and those revolving doors, man, these
Yeah.
hotels. And this guy walked out of the hotel, and around his mouth, like when your goatee is out of mine, you see all the gray in mine. He was like that all the way around here, and it was the frost.
Frozen.
It was frozen. It was frozen. And I said, dude,
Yeah, man.
it was Marvin and I, we was coming in the hotel, and the guy was coming out. And man, I said, he needs some lotion on his face. Marvin said, Bugs, his face is frozen. That's hair. I looked at the guy and I walked over to him, and his shit was frozen, Chris.
Yeah, that
I was
happens
thinking,
all too cold,
I
man.
was,
It's fucking
I,
freezing here in this city, man.
Frank Blair was a monster, though, man. He was a monster, man. I love him. I miss him. Yeah, I miss everybody,
He's
even
passed
Gordon
away now?
Banks. Yeah, he's gone. I'm telling you, there's Howard Westbrook, the other guitar player. All three of the background singers, that was Paramore. They were a group called Paramore from Hawaii. We saw them at a nightclub called The Point After. And Marvin said, hey, man, those guys sing well together. Hey, Bugs, check them out. See what they doing. And shit, we was just bored. Because if you stay in Hawaii for 180 days or longer, you get what's called rock fever. You're ready to go back to the mainland. And we would go and people would come and pick us up and we would take us here. That band was basically built in Hawaii. We
Yeah.
sent for people to come from the mainland. We got our background singers from over there. We had one guy named Cheeky that was playing the cowbell, and that's all he did. He
Huh.
just played the cowbell. That's all he did. Marvin was the kind of guy, man. If you gave him a story, if you gave him a good enough story, man, he would give you a job. He would find
Yeah.
something for you to do. He would find something for you to do and help you get on your feet.
Good
And
dude.
then and they send you on your way, man. But
Yeah.
I'm surprised somebody's asking me about Frank Blair. Hey, Frank. Hey, dude.
Yep.
His nickname was Blade. His nickname was Blade. We all because he was sharp. He was
Yeah.
sharp with that bass. He really, and Marvin named it Blade, man.
Wow.
Um, so that's wow. This is the first time anybody's ever asked me about in our lifetime. That's crazy.
So what about Jamerson? Did you know
James,
Jamerson, or was that a little
I
bit
knew I
before
knew
you?
I knew James Jamerson. I knew James Jamerson when I was a teenager, and it wasn't
Okay,
long after, because Marvin hired me when I was 16 years old, man. I was 16 years
16.
I was 16 years old when he hired me, man. And you got to know, man, $750 every 4 days for a young, uneducated black mind. That was a lot of
Big
fucking money.
thing.
That was
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, you got people that don't make $750 a week now. And
Even
he
now, it's a
hired me
lot of money.
he hired me when I was 16 years old, man, and he just took me under his wing, man. But James Jamerson Jr.,
Yeah.
are you familiar? He played with us with Marvin. He went on to play, he went to Stevie Wonder,
Yeah.
he went to Stevie Wonder for 1 year, before Nate came on with Stevie, and
Uh-huh.
David Williams left us and went to Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
He
Yeah.
went to Michael Jackson, and David Williams stayed with Michael Jackson until he died, man. David Williams, Ricky Lawson, Peanut, we called him Peanut, Greg Filling Gaines, all them cats, man. And
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it was a
No,
beautiful
Greg.
thing, man. You ever met him?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
A fantastic guy, man.
man,
Awesome.
he's a fantastic guy, man. He's a beautiful cat, man. But our thing was that these guys was playing with Michael, and Michael was paying them 10 grand a week. The lowest
Yeah.
man on the roster, was making 10K a week, and
Uh-huh.
having fun. I mean, like, now you go out and play, and you probably go out and do maybe 6 or 7 weeks, but 6 or 7 weeks with Michael Jackson, it would take 180 days,
Uh-huh.
because of all the preparation, man. But James
Right.
Jamerson Jr., he's sick right now too. He's still alive, I think. I think Junior's still alive, but he's been
No,
sick
James
too, man.
Jamerson Jr.? No, he
Yes,
passed away a couple of
he
years
did
ago.
pass. He did
Yeah.
pass. Okay, see, that's how far out of the loop I am. That's how far out of the loop I am with Motown. But
Yeah.
I knew them cats ever so well, man. Ray Parker Jr. and his brother O'Pelton, all them cats, man. Nate,
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh my God. And see, now you're telling me the junior passed away, and I'm sure somebody told me about it, but it went right over my head. It went right over my
Yeah.
head. Right over my head,
Yeah, a
man.
couple years ago. He was really
Yeah.
sick.
He was sick. Yeah, he was sick. He was
Yeah.
sick. Okay. He got sick, and he stayed sick for a while. If I knew that he died, I heard it, and it didn't matter, because I'm full of grief.
Uh,
I'm still full of grief too, man.
yeah.
What are you doing right now?
Me?
Yes, yeah,
Um,
you. What are you doing? What are you
man, just, same thing I
are you?
always do, man. I got a family I take care of, wife and kid,
Yeah,
and I'm taking care of
yeah.
my mom. So I still gotta
There
work,
you go.
a regular job, work
Okay,
security,
okay.
for
There
a
you go.
residential building, and, I'll make music,
And you
as
make
much as I
music.
can.
That's
We just
cool.
started, this podcast thing and
Uh-huh.
trying to get into that, trying to, meet as much musicians as I can, talk to as much people as I can, and,
Hmm.
just take it from there, man. I don't who knows
Hmm.
what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
If,
yeah,
you don't try and do something, then nothing's gonna happen, so that's what I
yeah,
believe
yeah,
in, that's why I'm always
yeah.
creating and always working on something to have ready,
Keep, keep
you
Jesus
know?
first, man. That's all I can say. Whatever your higher power is, or whoever you hire, however
Oh, Jesus,
whatever.
absolutely.
See, keep Jesus first, man. I tell my girl all the time, man, you got to put God. You cannot do this by yourself. You
Right.
cannot do this, but I am not. I cannot do this by myself. God has me,
The
and
power of God is a very powerful thing.
yeah, man. I'm going to publicly retire, um, this year with Cyndi Lauper. She's
Uh-huh.
retiring too. Here in Las Vegas at the Metropolitan, and I think it's April in month. April sometime. Sometime, but yeah, I still get to play, man. I
Yeah.
still get the, and I can still get out, man. I mean,
Oh, I
the
know.
pocket.
I've seen some videos of you lately.
Oh, you see some videos of me lately? I don't know
Oh,
no better.
yeah.
People
Yeah.
shoot videos. I don't even know on that thing. What do you call it? The Facebook thing, man. Let me tell you something. I don't know all them pictures and all those videos. I don't know none of them people. I don't know who's
Yeah.
doing it. I don't. I don't know.
Right.
I have no idea. And somebody say, "Hey, man, I saw you on the video." Ask what, and
Yeah.
I ask them, "How did they find it? How did they find it?" So
Yeah.
I still play. I can
These
still
days,
play a little
everybody
bit.
got a camera, in their
Yeah,
pocket.
yeah. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket, man. You talking right,
Yep.
man. Yeah,
There's
that's
no
so
more
cool.
privacy or none of that.
No, no, no. Ain't no more privacy. I'll tell you, if every human being would mind their business, we wouldn't have use for telephones.
Hmm. You're
If
right.
everybody, if everybody would mind their own business, we wouldn't have use for telephones no more than to stay in touch with your mom. I heard you say you take care of your mom. You lucky devil, you man. You still got your mama. And you
Yeah.
still got your mother, man. That's what a beautiful thing to look up and see. It's just to your mother, man.
Yes,
People
sir.
say, "Well, Mother's Day." I disagree with Mother's Day. I totally
Hmm.
disagree with Mother's Day, and I'll tell you why.
Every day is Mother's Day.
Thank you. When have you ever seen a mother get a day off?
Hmm.
When have you ever seen a mother get a day off? Every day is Mother's Day.
Right.
And these men running around talking about, well, I take care of my kids. I'm like, well, hell, then your kids, what do you want, a Grammy? What
Yeah.
you want?
That's what
You
you're
you want
supposed
an
to do.
Oscar? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You take care, your family, man, family first, man.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
when Frank died, man, it was so sad, man. When Frank Blair died, because nobody knew who he was, and
Yeah.
he was trying to get back to God. But sometimes you can get too far that way.
Hmm.
That's what happened with my brother-in-law. That's what happened with Marvin. We got too far this way, and we couldn't
Yeah.
get back. We couldn't
Right.
get back, and
Right.
he just wanted the music to be recognized. I had no idea. I'm not going to sit
Yeah.
up here and lie to your audience, because I know the world is going to see this interview. But man, I'm not going to sit up here try to polish a turd, man. I had no idea this brother was passing the torch for me to fucking carry, and
Yeah.
I don't really know how to do that. All I know how to do is tell the truth. That's all I know
Hmm.
how to do is just tell the truth. I mean, like talking to you right now, it's gonna take maybe 2 more times.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna take about 2 more times because I want you to go on your like my son-in-law, go on your computer and look at all the stuff that because anything you see where I am appearing, it's all because of him.
Okay.
It's all because
Mm.
he signed me to a thing when I was 19 years old. You want to hear something funny? Yeah, I'm going to tell you
Sure.
something funny. He signed me to a thing called a rider. I thought the
Hmm.
motherfucker was talking about a rider truck.
Uh,
He signed me, where I was getting uh 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 retainment money, whether we were
yeah.
doing anything or not. And then I started playing with Billy Preston.
Billy Preston.
While I was playing with Billy Preston while we weren't doing nothing. And then that led to the Edwin Hawkins singers live, Oh Happy Day. That's me.
Mhm.
Dude, and I was just high as 50 hippies on top of the Washington Monument at the time. I was just playing and getting paid. I had no idea this music was gonna be here 50 years later. I had no idea. I was just playing, like when you were young and you were playing, you were jamming with somebody, and somebody recorded it and I tell my fiance, I tell my son-in-law, I tell anybody that's around me that has a button to push, don't forget to push record because if you don't, you'll lose it. You'll
That's
lose
right.
it. Some of the biggest records on the planet that have ever been recorded was done by accident and it was done on 16 track.
Yeah.
There's a
Uh,
16 track and it was done by accident, man. I mean, oh my God. I watched Michael Jackson and John Robinson. I watched them do Off the Wall, man. Uh, uh, with Bruce Wheaton, the engineer stuff. And man, it was just drums and bass, drums and bass, drums and bass, drums and bass, drums and bass. And next thing you know, this brother, he's dead now too. His name, he was from Heat Wave. I can't even think of the name. Rod Temperton. Rod Temperton. Do you know that name? Are you
Yes,
familiar with that name? Rod
yes,
Temperton from Heat Wave, Always and Forever. This dude, man, wrote these songs, man, and they were not the type of songs that for Heat Wave. He presented 2 songs to Quincy, to Q, for the Michael Jackson album, because they were just scouting around for songs. And he sent 2 songs to Q, man. And we were sitting over one day, man, over on the Blair and Sunset, man, in one of the editing labs, man, at A&M Records. And this dude walks in and he says, well, he asks Q, he says, which one of the songs does Mike like, and Q looked at him and said, Mike wants both of them. And bam, it changed that man's life forever. It changed his life forever, so, I mean, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but what I am saying is that with honesty, if I can't hide it from Jesus, don't none of you motherfuckers count, man. If I can't hide it, whatever it is, if you cannot hide it from the Lord thy God, that's, and when I was younger, man, a lie didn't care who tell it, man. Marvin was the kind of guy who said, Bugs, Benjamin Franklin said it best. First and foremost, above all things, to thine own self be true. I live with that today. I live with that today. When I sit down, man, it's about the truth. It's about the truth in the pocket. It's about the truth in the pocket. And I admire that in your playing. I admire that in your playing. I can feel you, Chris, and I don't have to touch you. Just listening to what you did. And when you said, man, I play guitar, keyboard, and bass. And your friend who sang said, see, I can remember if it makes sense to me, then it's not nonsense. The guy who was singing is in heaven. You had a drummer, and you did every damn thing else. You did everything else. So that's what Marvin. Yeah. He had a conga player. Okay, but you did. Okay, now got to give it up. That was me and Marvin and Johnny McGee from LTD, and the saxophone player Fernando Harkless. Marvin saw him stuck in the rain one day, Sunset and Santa Monica Boulevard in La Brea, and gave a kid a ride and took him to the studio because the dude had a saxophone case in his hand and standing out in the rain. And that young man ended up playing with War. He ended up playing with Whitney Houston. He ended up being a prodigy of Kurt Whalum. So it's like me talking to you right now through Jill. God knows what He's doing. And Jesus is right there. One of the songs, life is in session, and it's time to cut a hit. I don't know if that one ever made the In Our Lifetime project to where you guys can hear it, because there's several songs that I can sit up. In fact, the next time we talk, I'm gonna have my son-in-law to hook this shit up, and I'm gonna let you hear some shit that the world has never heard.
That'd be great, man.
How about that? Okay, I promise you, the next time we sit and do this, I'm gonna have my son-in-law, because I have discs and stuff. I even have some old the little cassettes and stuff, but he's got the ability to play anything in here that makes sound.
That would be great,
all
man.
back to cassettes. Unless you hear some stuff, man. So you're podcast people, so you can turn the world on to something that I don't know how to reach them. I don't know how to reach the world like that. All I can do is just go out and play. So I'm gonna play some stuff for you, man, where you'll be able to say, I got this exclusively from Marvin's drummer, and you can turn the world on to, This is material where there's nobody had any jurisdiction. He wasn't contractually tied to anybody. Just a bunch of songs that they used to say in the vault or in the can. Well, when it comes to Marvin's music, I got about 40 songs that are complete that
Wow.
the world's never even heard. And I'm
Wow.
telling
That
you,
that would be
I'm telling you on your TV, bro. I'm telling you on your motherfucking TV. I'm gonna have my son-in-law hook it up to where you can hear it, and y'all push some buttons and shit to where you can hear it clearly like this, and let you present it to the world. How about that?
all
How
right,
about
man.
that?
You heard it here
That's that.
first. It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be an
yes.
exclusive.
It's gonna be an exclusive. That's why I said to you a few days ago, hey man, I want to do an exclusive with you. but
That's
I'm
right.
gonna talk, but I'm gonna talk to the censorship world, um, because they're gonna set they're gonna they're gonna edit what they think needs editing, and because you're a believer, you're gonna let them have it exactly like I gave it to you. Put your
Right.
narrative with it. Put your narrative with it. And in the name of Jesus, I know you're gonna do right by God. You still got your
Amen.
mother in your life. You still got your mother and your wife that you take care of your family. And you a badass musician, but you get up and you take care of your family. Musicians, we don't have a 401(k) or whatever that shit. We don't have retirement plans. We don't have all of that.
Right.
My life changed drastically. And you're not asking me these questions, but I want the world to know.
Hmm.
Pharrell Williams and Robin Thicke, sons, Robin Thicke, when they
Yeah.
did Blurred Lines, that
Right.
changed my life. That changed my life forever. It changed my life forever because there's never been a copyright infringement lawsuit like that at no time
Uh-huh.
in the world. That was the first one. And dude,
Mhm.
all I did was got up on the stand and told the truth. And the law firm that represented
You did.
my niece and my nephew, Nona and Frankie, his two biological kids, and
Right.
then we had then we had little Marvin who was adopted, and Jan, their mother, she passed. Rest in peace, baby. She was like a little sister to me, but that changed my life forever, man. Because musicians, we don't have retirement plans. We don't
Yeah.
have the 401(k). We don't have all that, and we don't think to put no money aside.
Right.
I'll be
Right.
I'll be 70. I'll be 73 years old, man, and for me to sit up and still get these big ass royalty statements from stuff I can't even remember what it's for, dude.
Mhm. You're
You know,
blessed.
I'm getting ready. I'm blessed. I'm getting ready to get married. I'm getting ready to start a life. I know what it's like to bury my daughter and bury my wife, and I wasn't looking forward to a new life. I wasn't looking forward to all that. But from heaven, I get blessed. I get blessed from heaven, man. I get to talk to
Yes,
people
sir.
like you, and I get to have people like these folks here in my life, man. And it's just it's beautiful, man. That you the way I met you.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Marvin, I want to talk about life. So you get in what you want to get in, and we don't have
Mhm.
to have a format. You can ask me about anything, and we'll get to the day of the death. We'll get to all of that, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna spit the fucking truth
Let's
because
do that. Let's do that.
yeah, yeah,
You know, we all know that Marvin at the last years of his life, he was struggling a lot
oh,
mentally, and did a
we
lot of
all, we
crazy
all,
stuff on stage and everything, taking off his
yeah,
clothes and
dude, man,
stuff like that. But
man,
it all
we
comes down to that one morning, April 1st, 1984, when his father walked in his bedroom and shot him twice in the
yeah,
chest.
yes, yeah,
My first question for you about that is, since that was your father-in-law, Marvin Gaye Sr., uh, how did the family feel about that? Did they, ever forgive the father? Did they understand it? Were they angry? What
I'm gonna
went
tell
on after that?
man, I'm gonna tell you something. After that happened, nobody in the gay family really wanted to talk about how they felt about it, but I did.
Uh-huh.
I did. Excuse me for turning away from the camera because I'm just looking off into the heavens, man. When you ask me that,
Mhm.
nobody, and right to this very day, everything that you heard, the reason why it happened, how it happened, so forth, It's all opinionated. But the family, we have never sat down collectively as a family and discussed how they felt about it. Because Marvin was the type of guy, man. He would tell family members, "Hey, look, somebody start a flower shop. Somebody open up a cleaners. Somebody get a PO box. Somebody, open up a business.
Yeah.
Don't just follow me around doing what I'm doing when I'm doing what I'm doing. Because if all this stops in the blink of an eye," he would say this, "when all this stops in the blink of an eye, what are the rest of you gonna do?" And I'd get up and I'd walk out the room because now he's ministering to the family. And lo and behold, look what happened. Look what happened.
Mhm.
And there's some of them are in jail for some of my family members with the last name Gay with the hyphen E on it, are where they are. Nobody never talked about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. It was embarrassing. It was
Yeah.
so embarrassing. And
It
everybody
was.
was afraid. The family was really afraid that Bugs was gonna get out there. And if you look anywhere on your computer, anywhere in all your buttons and knobs and shit, you will not find not one demeaning, not one negative, not one narcissistic, not one exaggerated interview I've ever done about that
Mhm.
at all.
Yep.
No, we wouldn't talk about it because it was so fucked up and so fucking embarrassing. And people are coming to me right today and say, "Man, what a waste." No, it wasn't a waste. That was his journey.
Yeah.
That was his journey. That was something, because God don't make no mistakes.
Right.
God don't make no mistakes. He doesn't. People say God takes the best for his own. No, he doesn't. He allows you to come home. People you hear all your life, the Lord works in mysterious ways. The only thing
Yeah.
that's mysterious about the Lord's work is that if you don't read the word, then everything is mysterious. If you don't
Right.
read how to put a bicycle together, motherfucker, that's mysterious.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? But if
Makes sense.
you sit down and you read you read the preamble, you read a book like my old lady sitting back here touching that telephone. I don't touch none of this shit in here. I don't touch nothing. I don't even allow him to drink coffee or have water around none of the board, because that's the way we were trained. That's the way we were brought up. And that's
Yeah.
old school. But if you really want to know how to do something, and you can't afford to go to school, you get around people that do know. You get around people that do know. And the people that do know, like I would have been talking to you at home on my fucking telephone. But my
Yeah.
son-in-law has all this shit, and he knows how to talk to you and make it so that I can talk to you like this. And they got the dogs. The dogs. I'm an animal fanatic. They got the dogs. Usually would be in here, and I'm grandpa around here, so I'm feeding the dogs and drinking
Nice.
coffee, smoking a little weed or whatever. But my
All right.
son-in-law, they shut the door, and I never get to be in his studio like this.
Wow.
I want to hook the two of you guys up, because
Yeah.
he makes music for people that make computer games. Oh
All right.
God. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This
Right.
this young this young dude this young dude is an ambassador over in Oslo, Norway. He made music for a kid that was like 14 years old and made a computer game. And the computer game is like one of the biggest things, like back in the days of Nintendo. I
Yeah.
mean, like he's 40 years old and he's heard of Marvin. He's up there, Marvin's been gone 43 years. So would they know? No, they don't. He has no
Uh,
idea. He has no, yeah, he really, I mean, he could study it, but somebody like you right there. You're a hop, skip, and a jump away from Detroit, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? You just right down the street from Detroit. You're right
yeah.
close to you're right close to, you know, is Buddy Guy still there? I'm
Yeah.
going to some. Is Buddy Guy still there? I played
Oh
at
yeah.
Buddy Guys, man. With Buddy, I played there with Isaac Hayes. I played there with fucking Ike Turner. I mean, like I had so
Nice.
much fun, man. Had so much fun in Chi-Town, man. But it's just so fucking cold when it
Yeah.
gets. Is it cold there right now?
Oh, it's freezing, man. It
Ain't
was
that a
nice
bitch?
out for a couple
He said,
days, and
if it's freezing,
we went
it's
back to the
freezing.
freezing cold, and
We were
even snowed.
85 today.
Is it snowing there right now?
Yeah, it snowed last night.
It snowed last night. Man, you should
Yeah.
be out here, man. You should come out here and kick it with me for a few days, man. You know, we got
Yeah.
90 degrees out. We got 90 degrees out here, man. We got
Yeah.
90 degrees out here today, man. You know. When's the
I'm
last
sure,
time
I'm
you
sure
picked it?
I'll end up coming down soon
man.
to Vegas for
Hey,
a little
hey, man.
while. See you guys.
Hey, man, well, whenever you do, what, you know, yeah, you got my phone number. You got my gate code is pound. Push the damn thing and say, "Hey, Bugs, I'm at the front gate, motherfucker. Let me in and let's go somewhere and play." That's where I'm at, man. You know. When's the last time you played? When's the last time you gigged?
Did a gig last month, but mostly I've been recording. You know, for the past few years, I kind of gave up playing live.
Yeah,
I only go if it's like somebody really close friend or something like that, or a favor, you know, then I go out and play. But otherwise, I'm just in the studio most of the time recording. You know, I got tired of lugging around with equipment and the whole thing of hurry up and wait and all that. And I got tired of it.
If I don't have backline, I'm really not doing it. This is the first year I didn't go to the NAMM show. You know, I didn't go to the NAMM show here in Anaheim, you know, and you know, I got to the point to where you know, my stick bag and sometimes my own throne, sometimes my own pedal, but I don't like moving, you know, I don't like moving no gear around anymore, man, you know. And everything now
especially in
is
cold weather.
and cold weather,
Yeah.
man, you know. But
Forget
anyway,
about it.
man, yeah, I love talking with you, man.
We're coming up on over an hour right now.
Okay. I tell you, let me give you an idea. You think about some of the things that you know you haven't read about it.
Yeah.
Think about anything that you would think about, you know, because he would want me to do what I'm doing.
Yes.
And you got an open line to me, man. You got an open line from this day forward. In the name of Jesus, Chris. Yeah, it don't feel like we've been talking an hour, but that's good. You can sit back and you can edit what you want, whatever's good and that's bad, you know, or you can just give it to them straight like that, man. You know. But
we'll call this a part one.
Okay, we'll call this part one. Part one, and then we'll come back and we can talk about some of the other people that you know that I have stories about, you know. And on our next one, I'll tell you another funny story that happened to us on the road, where the limousine broke down and Marvin got a ride on an 18-wheeler chicken truck, and the driver gave him a chicken, and the damn chicken was running around on the stage, and the people thought it was part of the show. I'll save that one to you. I'll tell that one to you later, okay?
All right.
I love you.
All right,
say bye, man.
Bye.
Okay, love you. Up to the moon and back. And I haven't met your family. Next time, you know, you'll tell your family I said hello. And any musicians out there, I love you to the moon and back. And thank you so much.
Love you too, baby.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. That's all. Thank you is what I said.
All right.
God, so, you know,
I'll get ready for the part two, and I'll set up some more questions. All right.
Okay. All right, baby. Love you, man.
For coming on, Bugs.
Thank you so much. Get my son. You're very welcome, man. God bless you. One love. Bye-bye.
One love, man. Talk to you later, Bugsy.
All right. Talk to you later, baby. One love.